Hello, everyone. Welcome to episode 26 of the Grupetto Podcast. And as you can see over here is Cameron Jeffers.
Hi.
Need to learn that. And over here is Tim Fulford. Tim,
yeah.
Where's Jesper?
Jesper's got chicken pox, so we had to send him home to Denmark for a week of rehab. No, he hasn't. I'm joking. He's not here, so I thought I'd just sit in his seat and see if anyone noticed.
Hi, I've not noticed. Has anybody else noticed?
The accent is a little bit different. You got to put on a Danish.
Yeah, but Jesper's accent changes on a daily basis.
Hello, guys, and welcome to the podcast.
Oh, don't start this again.
The many noises coming out of Cameron's mouth.
However, Jesper is recording this. He would have been on the
He's
podcast.
He's creepily kind of watching it at the same time.
Yeah, if he'd have taken his microphone, he'd be here right now. But I think he failed to take his microphone. So
he sent his microphone from Denmark 2 weeks ago to the UK.
Brilliant.
So it's his own fault.
Brilliant. So what we're going to try and do today, this week, boys, is to try and condense everything into a listenable audio experience. Because I think last week, and it's probably right. I mean, I was on holiday, so I really didn't give an ounce of care. Zero fucks, I think the term is. And we just kept going off on tangents. So we're going to keep it a little more specific. And I'm going to start off with today's topic that I want to discuss. And this is hot off the press. This is brand new off the press. Cam, I don't even think you know about this yet. But we got a press release from Canyon. Canyon announces the launch of the world's first professional e-racing team. I mean, I've got a few issues with that. Mainly the word professional, but let me read it out to you, and then we'll dissect it if that's all right. Okay. And at no point am I dissing them. I just think it's clickbait. Canyon Bicycles is proud to officially announce the formation of the world's first professional e-racing team, Canyon ZCC. Since the team's inception, the two squads have already proved incredibly successful, winning both the women's and men's editions of the inaugural Zwift Community League. I mean, right, no one's going to put that on the CV. No one's going to put that on the Palmares, the Community League. Like, that fizzled out after, what, 4 weeks?
In what way?
They've got nothing else to measure it against, have they, Chris, really?
No one gave
and
it.
they've also said that they're the first, so they can cherry pick the best people as well. So if they hadn't won it, you'd be a bit worried.
True. Yeah, good point. The team's dominance is even more impressive considering 6 of the 10 riders also raced in the Super League. And then it goes on to mention, James's second place in the national titles. Second to our very own Cameron Jesper. What? Who needs to be on the first professional e-racing team?
Yeah.
Just rock up and
Canyon,
do your own team.
Email me.
So yeah, what I love about it as well is all the riders. I mean, I don't love it because I'm pretty jealous that they all get provided with an Air Road CFSL, the striking team kit. This is what I like, along with allowances for travel to events. Now, I don't know if you know, but the majority of riders take 3 steps out and they're into the garage. So putting expenses in for fuel.
I saw something about Canyon your warranty doesn't cover you if you break your frame on an indoor trainer as well, which I thought was interesting.
No, I read.
But I'm sure they're changing that.
Yeah, I read in the other press release, because there were 2 slightly different ones, and one is that they're working on. It sounds like they're working on a bike specifically, not a smart bike, but a bike that is allowed to go on a turbo trainer or a smart trainer.
That sounds like a good idea.
As in, like a specially designed bike.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, let me see if I can find. I did have it up here, and I've totally lost it now. So
I'd imagine it's going to have like reinforced rear stays or something. I don't know.
Here we go. I found it. Canyon is committed to the development of e-racing and is excited about the potential of this new variation in cycling. Therefore, the Canyon R&D team, in close coordination with the testing and quality engineers, are currently working on new testing procedures to ensure the compatibility of all frame platforms for use on indoor trainers. Our warranty and guarantee guidelines will be revised accordingly as soon as the technical requirements have been met. Yeah, so that's pretty cool if they're going to do that. And it's another. I mean, it's funny that they're saying that they're a professional team. There's 5 men and 5 women. Now we know that James Phillips and Steve Young aren't technically professional riders as they have day jobs. But it's kind of good. Well, I don't know. It's not. It's thing, the Belgian guy. What's his name?
Lionel sponsored, I think.
Lionel,
sponsored by Rafa, but I don't know if that's his full-time job.
All right.
Yeah, this is my. Can I just make a little bit of a point here?
Of course you can.
When you use the word professional, that implies profession is your job, right?
It's your career. Yeah, I used to walk around saying I was a professional cyclist, knowing full well that I was having to pay to actually ride the bike. Are they paying the riders or not? No, they won't be paying them, will they? There's no way.
So they're not. They're not a professional team then.
No, but they're there, and it's kind of the first one, and it's more as not funny as it is, but as I don't really know what I want to say without slagging them all off and making out that it's not as big as it is, but it's a big step forward in e-racing. It's another step on the ladder.
Direction it's going in, doesn't it? Really?
Yeah, thanks, Tim.
The same way that we put together the Wahoo CyclingHub team. So,
and
exactly,
were we first? I don't know.
Do we have the best riders? Anyways, I raced Stevie Young for the first time last Sunday at the Upton Road Race, and it was nice to race him actually, and it was in a real world environment, and he is seriously strong. I mean, he cleans up on Zwift a lot. He's one of the best sprinters on Zwift. We all know that, but in a real world situation, man, he is so strong. I was in a group with him trying to bridge across the breakaway, and he was pulling some fucking big turns, and it was just good to see. It was just nice to see he is as strong as he is on Zwift, in real life.
Yeah, well, I think more and more that these riders are being known that there is no place to hide now, and they are legit. The top ones nowadays are legit, aren't they?
Yeah.
What's your view on it, Tim?
Well, James Phillips is the outdoor Welsh national champion, so
whoa. He beat Ed?
Yeah. He beat
Did
everyone. Yeah. So, not hill climb, but actual road race.
Oh.
He's legit. Lionel's he's won a few cyclocross national or Wallonian championships, and Phil's got silly numbers and is a dig deep coach. So is that and Alex West? I mean, he's proved his numbers through Zwift Academy. So the 5 guys are all genuine. I've got no qualms about that. It's interesting the wording they use, and I don't blame them for using it. Moving into my topic, which I've had to come up with in 3 seconds, and I think.
Oh right, so my topic's ended, guys.
No, I'm going to talk about it. I'm tying it into yours, Chris. Is they've announced this on the 24th of April, which is arguably about 2 weeks after the end of the Zwift season, and about 5 months before anything's going to get done again on the indoor cycling scene.
Do you think that's the case though? Do you think do we think that that's the case? The fact that now just because the sun's out here that indoor's going to die, or do you?
I think the numbers demonstrated over on Zwift, just riders that there are out on Watopia and whatever the guest map is. You're looking January, February, you're looking at nearly 5 figures riding on Zwift quite regularly. Now, I went on the other day, there's 500 people.
Was it that low?
Yeah. Well, that was on one map when I was riding, so the other map, for argument's sake, had the same, so you got 1,000 people.
Yeah.
So,
Wow.
I mean, they've come together. They've done the photo shoot. They've done the interviews. There's no reason why not to. But equally, what does everyone think about the Zwift off season? And it ties into them announcing this now. So, I don't know. It was a bit weird to me. But I guess no time like the present ties them up for next year.
Yeah, it's kind of you'd get a bigger bang for your buck if you do it, August, September time, just as we're preparing for the next season.
Maybe it's like when you get an early Christmas present and they're just too excited to keep it.
Yeah, that's what I think it was. They'd been working hard throughout the whole Zwift season to bring the thing together, and they hadn't quite nailed it in time. So they just released it anyway because they'd put a lot of hard work into it and they've done well. So I think that's why they've done it, and I don't think there's any problem with doing it at the end of the off season, except for they've kind of retrospectively said the results that they got rather than saying this is what we're doing in the next month or something like that. So they've launched a team. It's like launching a team. I don't know, when at Eurobike for the next season. You wouldn't really do that, would you? You'd do it in December, January before the Tour of Oz.
What does the Z stand for?
What does the what?
Z.
So it's Canyon ZCC. What does the Z stand for? Super Cycling Club?
Is it just directed to Zwift? I don't know.
Zwift Cycling Club?
I don't know. That's why I'm wondering if it is Z, if that's what the Z stands for, and if it is Zwift, like what's their play? Because we're seeing more and more platforms coming out that are they going to be wedged into Zwift if something comes along and brings bigger numbers and what?
I reckon they'll. Sorry.
They say platforms such as Zwift, and they say that they're supported by Wahoo. So it's almost as if that they are. I don't know. Well, we'll see.
They might have to change it to either like ECC or VCC. VCC.
That's what Fusion did, didn't they? They're called something like that. E-Racing.
Yeah, it should be E. Surely E. E is the best. Yeah, but maybe it stands for something else like.
I think they're Fusion ECT, which is like E-Cycling Team or something. The Danish one.
Xylophone Cycling Club.
Wow.
Which starts with an X. So
Zebra. Fuck's sake.
A good kit though. I'll give them that. It's a good kit. Have you seen the kit that they wear?
Yeah, I like the kit.
Yeah,
except
cool.
maybe the massive thing on the back. I'm not sure, but the colours and the pattern I like. Yeah. Different.
Nice. Quick one, guys. What's the protocol on eating on podcasts?
Why?
Depends what it is.
I got a Snickers ice cream. And
does it make a noise?
I realised.
Oh wow, this is happening, isn't it?
No.
For the audio viewers, Chris is currently licking the end of his Snickers ice cream.
Filleting.
Right, so I guess are we done with Tim's subject and my subject now already in one?
Well, I was going to discuss the Tour of Watopia, and perhaps that's an effort to keep people on longer, and you're doing it at the moment, Chris. So
yeah, I discussed that. I think.
What are your thoughts on a group workout, Chris?
Oh my god! Have you seen that? Have you watched the video, Tim?
I watched the video. Yeah.
God damn! Have you done a group? Have you done a group workout on Zwift?
No.
Do not do one. I mean, I got left behind in the pen because my Amp Plus buggered up. But I thought the point of a group workout is to be in the group, and I thought that Zwift would move me straight up into the group where everybody's working out. But it took me to one guy. I rubber banded past him and then kind of stopped and went forward and then went back and then went forward. Then caught another two guys up and then just hung around with them for like the rest of the workout. It was utter shit. I hated it.
I love the concept, but it's incredibly frustrating that when you're doing like 600 or 700 watts in an interval in the group workout, it says you're doing like 21 k's an hour.
Yeah, exactly. And that's what annoys me.
And you're just like, well, okay.
You kind of want to get...
We all know Zwift kilometres are fake. Like, if you do the set of wattage outside, you're never going to do 40 k's an hour because there's no wind and because there's always a draft if you're in a small course. But when you end like a massive workout, when you've done some proper efforts and you've done like 18 kilometres in an hour, you're kind of like, that's frustrating.
Very. So yeah, it wasn't fun, but I think you're right. Like I say, I think I discussed it in my video. The fact that they've dropped the Tour of Utopia right now to try and keep people in the Northern Hemisphere, because it seems that the bank holiday weekend, especially with it being such good weather, is almost like a turning point now. Everyone's gone, right, I'm done with it, and I'm going outside.
It's also like late Easter. There's a late Easter this year, and then so you've got two bank holidays. You've got two back in the UK at least. You've got 2 days off, Friday and Monday. Then you've got another week at work, and then you've got another bank holiday at the start of May, and then another bank holiday at the end of May. So there's plenty of time for people to be off work, to be riding outside, to realise they don't need to be inside anymore. So
yeah, and I think so. They should. You know, I'm a huge fan of Zwift now, and you know, when the weather's nice, you ride a bike and you go outside. You know, there's no need to be sat on Zwift anymore. Monica was here the other day, and she was doing some TTFs on the trainer, and like I was just laughing at her, man, because it was like 24 degrees outside. I'd done 5 hours in the hills and stuff, and she was sat outside. Well, albeit she did it outside, but you know, she was still sat on a turbo trainer when she should have been out on the road.
I think Zwift can still provide some really very structured, like turn off all the variables. You've got to put out that number for that amount of time. It can still be used for that, but any more than that, then just go ride your bike. I think.
Yeah, I think what Zwift should focus on, like now in the summer months, is the full-time workers that have got, you know, 3 kids that come home and they can only train at 8 o'clock for 2 hours, and you know it's dark outside or whatever. Then they can jump on Zwift and do a session. But I think for your average kind of cyclist, then you know you're not going to be riding Zwift until September, October time.
It'd be interesting to see how many people stop their memberships through summer rather than just keep paying, just in case you use it once or twice. Because I remember I did that last summer or the summer before. I'd just keep it running, but I'd only probably jump on once or twice. So it'd be interesting to see, because do Zwift really need people to ride, or do they just need people to pay?
Monica cancelled her membership.
Oh, did she?
She did.
Oh, wow. Big news. Big news in the Grupetto Podcast.
Freaky.
All right, let's talk about outside. Cameron, what do you want to discuss on this week's podcast?
Today, I want to talk about the rider that has been dubbed.
Whoa!
I mean,
whoa! Before
Okay.
You carry on, you can't talk about Mathieu van der Poel, because everyone wants to talk about him, and it's a popular subject. So,
I mean, what I should have talked. Should I talk about myself?
I thought that's who we were talking about. When you were talking about proper riders, professional riders, I thought you were talking about yourself then, no? Go on, who do you want to talk about? I knew you were going to talk about it. No, I knew you were going to talk about it.
All right, well, I'm going to throw a curveball. I'm going to talk about myself.
That's not a curveball.
Fuck off, Tim.
That's a fastball up to the top of the stroke area.
All right, I'm going to reverse the curveball, and I want to talk about Mathieu van der Poel. He has been dubbed better. I want to get your guys' opinion on this. Just a one-word answer. No fucking tangents. Yes or no. Is Mathieu van der Poel better than Peter Sagan?
No.
No. Chris?
No.
Yeah, I agree. I think no at the minute, but I think very quickly, I reckon he can have that that title. That he is as good. He has as good as Peter Sagan. I saw his I forget the name of him, but I saw his coach call for him to do the Road World Championships in Yorkshire this year, because the course apparently it suits him pretty well. So it'll be very interesting. Because
don't worry about that. Swift is going to win that.
Yeah, don't bother turning up. Don't bother turning up. But he, I think, has it ever been done before? Because he's also targeting the mountain bike World Championships a month later, right? And we all know he's a fucking sick as cyclocross rider. Has anyone ever won TT road, mountain bike, and cyclocross World Championships in the same year? I don't think there has. I'm going to say no as well.
I've no idea. He holds all 3 Dutch, doesn't he, at the moment?
Here's what?
He holds all 3 Dutch at the moment.
Yeah. So and I mean, like, he is a genuine contender for the World Championships now. Like,
I think the only reason I say no is because there's a lot of hot air being spoken about him at the moment. He's done very well. He didn't even do Roubaix, and he didn't win Flanders. Obviously, he had a pretty good ride there. But like Sagan has won, he's won how many green jerseys at the Tour de France, which means you've got to get over the hills in the time limit. He's won 3 World Championships. You're talking about a 24-year-old who's good across all disciplines, and arguably Sagan was at the same point. So if Mathieu van der Poel wins 3 World Championships in a row and then turns up to Tour and does quite well there, then yeah, I'll give it to him. But
yeah, I think in 4 or 5 years he could be as good as Peter Sagan, but. Right now, I don't think. I agree. I agree.
What he did at Amstel Gold is just silly.
Oh,
what was it?
Yeah,
was it though?
Silly as in incredible, or
you just
silly as in literally silly.
I was. Where was I? It was Sunday, wasn't it? I was down with my family for Easter, and I just turned it on, and you see that there's like a gap. There's Fuglsang and Alaphilippe, and then another gap to Trentin and Kwiatkowski, and then it grew up to 8 of them. And then you just, because they've changed the finish at Amstel Gold, and it's now a sprint rather than going up the Cowboy, you just see that, that end of race long. So you can never tell who's winning because the perspective is so bad, which is the whole point. You just see Van der Poel just getting closer and closer and just pulling everyone with him, and then he just goes again, and you're just like, well, that's just silly. Like,
what do you mean when you say silly?
Firstly, it's silly he's got those power to come back from 30 seconds in the last 2K or something. Then silly the fact that the other 12 professional cyclists weren't able to do something about it.
True.
And then also silly that he just has that after however bloody far the race is. I think someone said this power. He's released his stats from the weekend, and I haven't seen them yet, but that'd be naughty.
Well, Cam will have them because he did a bit of research because he said he was going to talk about him. So Cam will have all the information. Cameron.
Google.
Oh, my screen has just turned off. No, whilst we find those stats, do you think he's going to burn out? Given the fact that he's a road cyclist, road racer, he's winning road races, he's winning.
Why are you putting him down already? That's such a
British
thing to do, Cameron.
He's gonna throw the towel in now, isn't he, for a couple of months?
Well, he can't do if he wants to target the road worlds. Then
why?
And the mountain bike worlds.
Road worlds are 5 months away.
Yeah.
Okay.
If you think about it, he's just done cyclocross and then come into he's basically treated the classic season like an August, September, and finishing off with the World Championships in Flanders or Amstel Gold. And now he's not going to go to the Giro with his team. He's certainly not going to go to Tour de France with his team, and he's definitely not going to get invited to the Vuelta. So he can just have a couple of months off and then end of June ramp it back up for the end of September.
He knows.
Arguably, but
yeah, I think you're right.
But this is where. Yeah.
But yeah, I don't think there's any chance of him burning out just yet. Like, riders are too smart nowadays. Not all riders want to ride every single Grand Tour. Riders are very selective. The fact that he's decided to miss Roubaix for Amstel Gold says a lot about his what's going on in his head and what he's targeting and what he wants to race.
He's definitely a clever rider in terms of the choices that he makes, I think. So yeah, I hope he doesn't, but I also don't think we'll see him burn out. He'll target these. If he does end up going to the road worlds, he'll target the road worlds and he'll target the mountain bike worlds, and then he'll get back into a cyclocross season. And like you said, he'll wind down a little bit now for a few months, I'd imagine.
What makes him so strong, though? What has he got? What is he doing that makes him so strong? Is it cyclocross?
I reckon it's a cyclocross. I remember chatting to Monica and like one of her teammates who's a very good cyclocross rider, and how we were saying that this was about a year ago, I think, and I was saying how I don't understand why more cyclocross riders aren't great don't come across to the road because they've just got that raw power. So if they can replicate that power over a longer period than 1 hour, in a longer road race, 4 or 5 hours, then they're going to have the same, if not better, power than kind of the top classics guys, just because they're so used to that intense effort. In a cyclocross race, there's no hiding, there's no drafting, there's tactics come down to it, but a lot of the time it's just whoever is the strongest rider is probably going to win the race.
But that's right. But then I don't like to bring everything back to indoor training and the platforms. But does that mean that we could be producing Zwift riders that are capable of not very skillful riders, but strong enough to go out on the road straight away and compete?
Well, I'm not.
Well, we know you're not. But do you think that's the case, Tim? Because like he's saying, riders are developing core power. Yeah, like such a strong raw power from cyclocross. It's the same with Zwift races. Everyone that's raced the Zwift race knows that you're like full ball for an hour.
But I've got to disagree with you, Chris.
Before
the national championships, I would have agreed with you. But then I went to the nationals and I won, and I can categorically say that I was not the strongest in terms of power numbers. I was not the strongest rider that day. I was the most skillful rider and the most tactically astute rider, but I was not the most powerful rider. So, Zwift is a game. Yeah, you've got to be powerful to play the game, but it's a game, and the strongest rider doesn't always win. So, yeah, I've got to say.
I agree with that. But it just seems like, especially when I race one, it's absolute full bore. But I guess it's different for you because it's not. Because when thinking of when I've watched your streams, you're sat in the front group at a heart rate of 130 or something, where I'm like just hanging on for grim death. So yeah, I guess in the fact that for me, I'm blowing out my ass, but the top riders aren't actually going that hard, are you? So yeah, I defer to your superior knowledge.
I'm
still trying to find them.
No, I'm still trying to find them.
It'd be interesting to get them.
They're on Strava, but I've forgot my Strava login details, so I can't even get on my Strava.
Brilliant. All right, Cam, let's briefly talk about...
Okay.
I want to talk about what you're doing this weekend, race-wise.
But you want to talk about me?
Yeah.
Let's talk... Okay, this weekend I am, arguably a race that's bigger than Tour of Flanders. It's bigger than the Amstel Gold Race.
I've heard this.
Apparently, apparently Matteo van der Poel had his entry turned back for this race.
Really? Yeah, I'm surprised.
Yeah. I mean, I don't want to quote my sources here, but
it's the one race
this weekend.
What is it?
The Rutland Sickle Classic. It's
definitely Sickle, right?
Yeah, I believe it is. I remember last year I called it the Cycle Classic and got absolutely rinsed for it by locals and.
But it's CICLE, isn't it? That's how it's spelled.
Sickle.
Right. I mean, sickle in my world is spelled SICKLE, and it's a sickle. It's like a scythe that chops wheat down back in the day.
It's like Leicester and the East Midlands. They're weird over there.
Wow.
Have you got them, Cam?
No, I have not, mate. You wanna?
There we go. Tim has them. Tim, let's get back to the Sickle Classic in a minute.
What do you want to know?
Give them to us, Tim.
Average. I don't know. Weighted. What was his weighted power? Or his average power?
Hang on a minute, Vic. Can you grab my laptop? Just unplug it and bring it over. I can't see his power on.
All right, so let's go back to the Sickle Classic.
But I've got his elevation and his average power for 6.5 hours.
Okay, let's hear it.
My very trusty assistant has just dropped it off for me here.
So whilst we're on that subject, okay.
Yeah, go on.
248
watts.
Such a toot. Cam, go.
I'm racing the Rutland Sickle Classic. It's the UCI. It's the first UCI race of the year. It's a 1.2 event, so it's it's a pretty low level, but it's a UCI race. So there's still a numerous amount of pro teams there. I'm not sure what teams are going, but it's kind of dubbed as the the UK's answer to the Belgian Classic. So there's no cobbles, but there's plenty of dirt sections, off-road sections, gravel tracks and stuff. So
it's a bit like Trowborough, isn't it? Because I watched
exactly,
that
yeah. It's that kind of thing, down single track farm roads and stuff, off-road sections. But this year they've increased the race distance from around 160 to like 188k. So it's gonna be and I mean like 188k with a large amount of that off-road is gonna be a hard race, and I don't expect there to be many people left at the end of it. So yeah, it's my first year racing it. Last year I was in the team car and it was fucking carnage.
Was it?
Carnage, mate, bouncing down those fucking roads and in the gutter, trying to pass team cars and trying to pass riders that have been dropped. Carnage. Like
in fact, I nearly was it? Yeah, it was. It was a cycle or cycle classic where I nearly got knocked over by a group of riders.
Don't stand over the road then.
I was just there helping out. So I was there with wheels for One Pro. I think I mentioned who was I talking to about this a while ago? Can you hear
Latham?
Can you hear the rain outside? Holy shit. So I was stood there at the side of the road and I've got my wheels up. No one needed them, but someone shouted to me, such and such needs a bike. I can't remember who it was. Such and such needs a bike. So I was like, all right. Team car came on. I waved it down. I said, such and such needs a bike. And as I looked up, because it's a single track, like 5 riders were coming at me at full speed. I was popping my pants. Thankfully, I just jumped out of the way and that was that. But yeah, it's a good race. I'm looking forward to seeing the results and the vlog.
Yeah, no, I'm looking forward to racing it. It's going to be my first time racing it. So I think everyone keeps saying to me like the biggest achievement for that race is just finishing it.
Oh, I bet, yeah, especially at the extended distances. Does it make you nervous when you see the amount of distance you actually have to cover, especially when you think that it's an extra 20k, or do you just know you can get through that?
No, I don't. I don't know if I can get through it, but it doesn't make me nervous. If you're strong enough, you're strong enough. If you're not, you're not. Like there's not. I mean, it's a race that comes down to primarily to luck. Like Steve Lampier says, he's been in the front group numerous times, 10k to go, and then he's punched out of it. And it really is a race where anything can happen. So I don't think you should take. You can't be nervous for it. You just have to go into it and be open-minded and just try and race hard and race it at the front. And if you get a puncture, try and get back in. If you don't, then shit happens. But yeah,
right, let's not have a vlog next week where you go, oh god, I was shit today. And you're in the van while the race is going on. All right. I want to see you make the finish, even if it takes you 10 hours. Make the finish. Promise me.
Well, the thing is with okay,
no.
I promise, but I say promise, but the thing is with Rutland, it like everything like fucking intersects each other, and
yeah,
if you look at it, it's like looking at the Strava of Amstel Gold Race. Everything just goes in and out of each other and paths cross. You do different sectors from different directions. So
wait at the last crossover then and just get into the race then.
That is a very good idea. But it's also against the rules, Tim. But I think you'll get when you get dropped.
Do it.
When you get dropped a certain amount, let's not get into that subject, please. When you get dropped by like a certain time period, then I'd imagine they just have to pull the riders for just so people don't get mixed up in different groups and stuff. But no, I mean I am gonna go and like I always do, just race 100% and give what I can.
Do you want to hear some silly numbers?
Let's have some silly numbers. Is this from my last training session? Is it?
No. Oh, just before we get into silly numbers, Chris, what's your thoughts on Paris-Roubaix Sportif 2020?
I think you'd really enjoy that, Tim. Go for it. I'm right behind you. Anyway, these silly numbers. Let's go.
So he did an average of 278 watts.
For how many hours?
For 6 hours and 8 minutes, 260k. That's a weighted power average of 337 watts.
Wow.
In the last 40k, which took 57 minutes, he averaged 336 watts. And in the sprint at the end, he maxed out at 1400 watts.
Fucking hell.
Wait, so just explain to me what, and people that don't know, what's weighted power then?
So it's another word for your normalized power. So basically, it takes out all of the like the zeros and times you're freewheeling and stuff.
Also, it was It is an average of 25 degrees, and there was 3,488 meters of climbing.
Holy motherfucker!
With 31 categorized climbs.
It's the fact that he can do 1,400 watts at the end of 6.5 hours of racing.
Let me find the sprint. See what he did.
That's crazy, eh? Especially with the turns, it looked like he was pulling.
You talk amongst yourself because the heavens have just opened and my bike's still outside. So 2 seconds.
He's just got the rain that was just over here a minute ago. That is insane power.
Last 5K, all right?
Mm-hmm.
He did in 6 minutes, and he averaged 433. Yeah.
Wow.
Okay. Last 700 meters,
mm-hmm.
he did in 43 seconds,
and
he averaged 850.
850 watts for how many seconds? 43.
43.
What? That is insane.
Ready? This is the best one.
Wait, save it for Cam. Listeners, we're just waiting for Cam to come back. He's here now. He's putting his earphones in.
I'm back. Sorry guys.
So we just did Cam. He for the last 5K he averaged 433 watts, and for the last 700 meters he averaged 850 watts, and for the last 200 meters, which was 15 seconds before the line, he averaged 1,200 watts.
Wow. After all that,
if you want a fun discussion, just write the initials MvDP and send it to Jesper Anker.
So if Jesper was here now, let's not put words in his mouth. But what do you think he'd be saying?
I don't want to speak for Jesper. He can speak for himself.
Yeah, well, let's not go into any discussion.
I will say I don't necessarily disagree with what Jesper's got to say.
Oh really?
Yeah.
Well, we'll have to get Jesper on next time, and he can divulge what he wants
a little
to
teaser
say.
for you.
That is seriously impressive. You know, he is. I think people are fair to say that people are fair to question whether he is as good as Peter Sagan with putting numbers out like that.
Well, you can't compare him until he's been around for the same amount of time and tried to achieve what Sagan has. That's like trying to compare you to me. You know, I've been around for 11 years now, and I've competed at the highest level in the world. So
you're now going to the Commonwealth Games, and
you're doing Sickle Classic on dirt tracks, dodging cows. You know what I mean? So it's not going to work. Right. So we're going to end the podcast here. Tim, thank you very much for joining us this week. At least you got a few more words in this week than you did last week. It seemed like you're more of a viewer than you were. It's hard to get 4 people into a conversation at once, isn't it?
If there is absolutely no structure, one of us has a really bad internet connection, the other one's on holiday in Spain. Yeah.
Welcome to the Grupetto Podcast.
The fact it wasn't me with the bad internet connection made me feel really good.
Yeah, it was me.
Yeah.
Which is probably why I didn't hear very much from me.
Yeah, you were probably speaking. You just your camera had frozen. So Jess will be back next week. Anybody listening on SoundCloud, Spotify, or iTunes, head over to my YouTube channel or the CyclingHub YouTube channel and leave a comment below as to what we should discuss next week. So it'd be interesting to find out what the viewers and the listeners want to talk about or what they want us to discuss. So until next week, Tim Fulford.
Ciao.
Jesper Anker.
Thank you, guys.
And Cameron Jeffers.
Just watching, guys.
Thank you, guys.
Listening, just for listening.
Thanks for listening. Thanks for watching.
Bye.
Peace. Boy, peace. This thing, Cameron does this bit, doesn't he? Peace. See you tomorrow at 4 p.m. Peace.